They came to my farm lake that morning with red warning signs and commanding voices, ordering me to leave immediately. A small army of HOA board members stood behind their queen, Karen Whitmore, blonde hair whipping in the wind as if nature itself wanted to expose her arrogance. Clipboards, cameras, legal folders, all staged for intimidation. They thought this was the moment I would surrender. But the lake was mine, every ripple on its surface tied to truths they had no idea existed. Karen waved an official-looking notice like it was a victory flag. Her smile carried the confidence of someone who thought she'd already won. "Mr. Hale," she said in that sharp tone people use when they want to sound both reasonable and menacing. "We have comprehensive documentation of violations. This lake is a danger to the community. Your continued presence is unlawful and selfish." As if on cue, a rare fish broke the surface behind her. Nature itself mocking her words. I let silence stretch until they began to squirm, expecting me to shout or beg. Instead, I asked a single question. "Are you sure you've examined all the necessary documentation?" For a fraction of a second, Karen hesitated. That was enough. I could see cracks in her certainty. She recovered, spouting statistics about 80% of the community voting for a remediation project. Funny, since the only person who had ever been entitled to vote about this lake was me. I turned my back on them and walked toward my father's old storage shed. Karen's voice rose in panic, demanding compliance, but real authority isn't declared, it's proven. Inside that dusty shed were records my family had preserved for generations, deeds, permits, research journals. Proof that this wasn't just a private lake, it was federally protected research habitat, documented and safeguarded since 1967. Karen's campaign escalated quickly. Within days, every photo of the lake vanished from community pages, replaced with warnings about contamination. Flyers filled mailboxes with stock photos of polluted rivers. Businesses turned me away. Neighbors crossed the street. Even the old man who had fished my lake every morning for 30 years was told he was banned for safety reasons. The isolation was deliberate, systematic. Karen was poisoning my reputation just as thoroughly as she planned to poison my lake. When I dug deeper, the truth unfolded. The so-called environmental expert she paraded around was nothing more than a janitor for portable toilets, masquerading as a consultant. County maps revealed the HOA's claims were riddled with holes, and a paper trail led straight to Karen's shell company, KW Investments, secretly owning a stake in a larger development firm. Her grand project wasn't about community safety. It was about money. Casino money. Then came the night sabotage. At 2:30 a.m., I woke to the sound of machinery near the water. Flashlights darted across the surface as shadows moved quickly, pouring something into the lake. By dawn, an oily rainbow sheen floated on the water. Karen had manufactured the pollution she'd been screaming about for weeks. The audacity was breathtaking. That afternoon, a sheriff's deputy delivered an emergency environmental order bearing official seals and the signature of Commissioner Mike Davis. It was a forgery, sloppy but convincing enough to fool anyone unfamiliar with federal law. But I wasn't fooled. Federal environmental orders don't come from county commissioners. They come from the EPA. Karen was now knee-deep in federal crimes. I made my move. I called the EPA's Criminal Investigation Division. Agent Jennifer Martinez listened carefully as I laid out everything. The fake contamination, the forged orders, the financial connections. Her voice sharpened with interest. "Mr. Hale, what you're describing involves multiple federal crimes. We'll send a team." I also reached out to Dr. Sarah Chen, a scientist from my father's old research network. She tested the water and confirmed the spill was synthetic, but more importantly, she found something Karen could never cover up: a thriving breeding population of Ozark darters, a federally protected species. That discovery alone made any development impossible. My sister Sophie finally reached me after days of missed calls. She was an investigative journalist, and when she heard the story, she said, "I'm coming home. This is David versus Goliath, and I'm not letting you fight it alone." The real showdown came at a massive HOA meeting Karen orchestrated like a political rally. Over 200 residents packed the hall, whispering excitedly as Karen unveiled glossy renderings of her Lakeshore Paradise project. Yacht slips, resorts, promises of wealth. Applause rippled through the crowd. She thought she had them all in the palm of her hand. That was when I entered, flanked by Agent Martinez, Deputy Rodriguez carrying real federal warrants, and Dr. Chen with her testing equipment. The room froze. Karen's smile faltered. Mrs. Whitmore, Agent Martinez announced firmly, we have federal warrants to collect evidence related to environmental crimes and fraudulent documentation. This meeting is suspended. I stepped forward and raised the original 1943 deed, its age and seals undeniable. I am the legal owner of 73% of this lake, I said, my voice steady. And it has been federally protected habitat since 1967. No vote, no flyer, no fabricated order changes that. Gasps spread through the crowd. Karen's face went pale. She stammered about legal technicalities and community progress, but her words fell flat as Dr. Chen explained the synthetic contamination and showed photos of the protected darter spawning grounds. Then came the killing blow, from inside her own ranks. Janet Williams, the HOA secretary, stood and declared, trembling but resolute, Karen promised board members 15% commission if this project went through. And she showed us plans for a casino complex, the real purpose of this entire scheme. The room erupted in outrage. Residents shouted, demanded answers, turned on the woman who had manipulated them. And then federal agents stepped forward. Karen was arrested on the spot, her desperate attempt to run cut short by the snap of handcuffs. Cameras captured everything. Her panicked face, the collapse of her empire of lies. The aftermath unfolded swiftly. Federal investigators uncovered a web of shell companies, corrupted officials, and gambling interests stretching across states. Commissioner Davis was arrested, his career destroyed. Cooperating board members spilled secrets that sealed Karen's fate. She was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, her fortune wiped out in fines. My lake was declared critical habitat under the Endangered Species Act, forever protected from development. The HOA was rebuilt from the ground up with strict limits on its power. My father's shed became the foundation of the Hale Environmental Research Center, led by Dr. Chen. Children now come to learn about ecosystems and conservation where Karen once tried to stage her conquest. Sophie's reporting turned the case into national news, earning her awards and a book deal. Her story made sure what happened here wouldn't be forgotten, that others could fight when corruption came knocking. And me? I stand on the dock now, watching schoolchildren peer into the water, squealing as they spot the flash of a rare darter. Their excitement reminds me of when I was a boy, following my father on his research rounds. The balance of power has shifted forever, from those who destroy for profit to those who protect for the future. Sometimes the right thing isn't the easy thing. But when you have truth and law on your side, it's always worth the fight. This lake doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to everyone who dares to stand up when defending it matters most.